Speak, fool. Tread lightly. What is it now? Finally. Speak, fool. This is more like it. Tread lightly. No one orders me around. What is it now? This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last. You will know endless for it. For the Lich King. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. This is more like it. Speak, fool. Finally. At last. Finally. What is it now? Speak, fool. Tread lightly. Speak, fool. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Finally. What is it now? Faithless coward. At last. Speak, fool. This is more like it. At last. No one. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. At last. No one orders me. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Tread lightly. Your pain shall be legendary. I'll make sure you suffer. You will end this. I'll make sure you suffer. For the Lich King. I'll make sure you suffer. You will know endless. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Your pain shall be legendary. Speak, fool. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Tread lightly. At last. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. What is it now? No one orders me around. What is it now? This is more like it. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last.
Our hero has fallen.
Tread lightly. No one orders me around. Speak, fool. No one orders me around. What is it now? Speak, fool. No one orders me around. Speak, fool. No one orders me. Speak, fool. No one orders me around. Finally. Glory to the scourge. Frostmourne hungers. This is more. Speak, fool. No one orders me around. Speak, fool. At last. Finally. What is it now? Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Now, Frostmourne. You will know endless time. No one orders me
Our ally's
around.
hero has fallen.
What is it now? At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Victory. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
Our allies town is
Your
under
name.
siege.
Finally. Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. No one orders me around. Tread lightly. Speak, fool. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. For the Lich King. Now, Frostmourne. This is more like it. Finally. Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. What is it? At last. Finally. This is more like it. Glory to the scourge. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. Glory to the scourge. No one orders me around. At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last.
Your pain shall be legendary.
Tread lightly. This is more like it. No one orders me. Speak, fool. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. What is it now? Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. No one will leave. This is more like it. Finally. At last. Glory to the scourge. Frostmourne hungers. What is it? This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. No one orders me around. Tread lightly. What is it now? At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. For the Lich King. No one orders me. Tread lightly. What is it now? This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Glory to the scourge.
Glory to the scourge.
Finally. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
You will end this
Speak, fool.
one. Allies, hero has fallen. I'll make you lose. Our allies, hero has fallen.
Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Speak, fool. Tread lightly. This is more like it. At last. Finally. This is more like it.
Our allies'
No
town
one.
is under siege.
At last.
Glory to the scourge.
Finally. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Frostmourne hungers.
Our allies'
last.
town is under siege.
Glory to the scourge. Frostmourne
Allies' hero
hungers.
has fallen.
Tread lightly. Finally. This is more like it. At last.
Glory to the scourge. Glory to the scourge.
This is more like it. At last. Finally. Now,
Glory to the scourge.
Frostmourne.
Our hero has fallen. Our allies' hero has fallen.
What is it now? This is more like it. Speak, fool. Finally. This is more like it. Tread lightly. Last. What is it now? Tread lightly. What is it now? Speak, fool. What is it now? Speak, fool. Finally. This is more like it. At last.
Glory to the scourge. Glory to the scourge.
This is more like it.
Biggest coward.
What is it now? Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. Now, Frostmourne. At last. What is it now? This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
Our allied town is under siege.
Finally. This is more like it. Finally. At last. Tread lightly. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Now, Frostmourne.
Faithless coward.
At last. This is more like it. Finally. At last. Speak, fool. Tread lightly. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers. What is it now? Speak, fool. This is more like it. No one orders me. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Your pain shall be this is more. What is it now? Finally.
Glory to the Scourge.
Frostborn.
Our hero has fallen. Our allies' hero has fallen.
Speak, fool. Ah, at last. This is more like it. No one orders me around. What is it now? Tread lightly. What is it now? Speak, fool.
Our allies' town is
What is
under
it now?
siege.
No one. Speak, fool. What is it?
Our allies' hero has fallen.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Speak. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Tread lightly. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Speak, fool. Finally. Ah, at last. No
Our
one orders
allies'
me
town
around.
is under siege.
Finally. Frostmourne hungers. What is it now? This is more like it. Finally. No one orders me around. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Ah, at last.
Our allies' town is under
Frostmourne
siege.
hungers. Finally. What is it now? No one orders me around. Tread lightly. What is it now? No one orders me around.
Our allies' hero has fallen.
Tread lightly. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Now, come and suffer. At last. What is it now? Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. No one orders me around.
Our
This is
allies'
more
town
like
is under siege.
Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like
We will know everything.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. For the Lich King. No one orders me around. This is
Our
more
allies' town is under siege.
Speak, fool. No one
Our allies' hero has fallen.
Speak, fool. Finally. No one orders me around. Ah, at last. Finally. This is more like it. Finally.
You will end this. Our forces are under attack.
Speak, fool. What is it now? At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. No one orders me around. Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. What is it? No one orders me
under siege.
At last. Frostmourne hungers. Tread lightly. What is it now? Now, Frostmourne.
Our forces are under attack.
This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. No one orders me. At last.
Glory to the scourge.
Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Speak, fool. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. What is it? No one orders me. Speak, fool. Finally. At last.
Our allied
Frostmourne
towers under siege.
Finally. This is more like it. No one orders me around. This is it.
Our allies' hero has
Frostmourne
fallen.
hungers. What is it? This is more like it. Tread lightly. What is it? Speak, fool. Tread lightly. No one orders me. Speak, fool.
Our allied towers under
Tread
siege.
lightly. Frostmourne hungers. What is it? Tread lightly. No one orders me. At last.
Our allied
Speak.
towers under siege.
This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers.
Glory to the scourge.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
Our allied
This is more
towers
like
under siege.
At last. I'll make sure you see. This is more like it.
Our allied hero has fallen.
No one orders me around. Frostmourne
Our
hungers.
allied towers under siege.
Tread lightly. What is it? Fine. This is more like it. Fine. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
Our
For
allied
the Lich
towers
King.
under siege.
Speak, fool. No one orders me around. Faithless coward. Tread lightly. At last.
More lumber is required.
No one orders me around. Finally. Now, for the Lich King. Faithless coward. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. This is
Glory to the scourge.
at last. This is last.
You will end this one.
Tread lightly. No one orders me forever. Tread lightly. This is finally. Speak. Tread lightly. This is what finally. At last. What is it now? This is what. At last. Finally. Frostborn hungers. At last.